Hi everyone, I'm Mark Smiley, one of the Intelligent Cloud Global Black Belt DC Modernization Architects. And today I'm going to be talking through the aspects of managing your subscription and kind of giving you a sneak peek to some of the elements we cover in the Cloud Fundamentals workshop. So an element that's super important is understanding obviously cost. And cost within Azure is obviously good to understand from a business perspective and a technical perspective. So I want to kind of start off with this slide kind of showing you the aspects of kind of all the areas that kind of we cover and look at. And one element I kind of want to dive into a little bit deeper is Azure Hybrid Use Benefit. A lot of people refer to it as AHUB, but today Azure Hybrid Benefits is about making use of investments of kind of essentially running in a hybrid environment, because we as Microsoft understand that people have on-premise and Azure. So essentially making use of those investments that you've got already on-premise. So essentially it's about being flexible with your costs, your licenses, focusing on Windows at the moment today, and kind of leveraging them within Azure as well. And not only is it kind of covering Windows licenses, but it's also covering SQL workloads as well. So for people running SQL and Windows, it's obviously a great example of kind of actually how to reduce your run cost when actually kind of using Azure as a service. An example here is essentially kind of on the left hand side a Windows machine. We've taken a D series here without the use applied to it, and the right hand side applying it. And this is really kind of the idea of kind of getting that best value, because essentially what we're doing is we're removing the cost from the license and actually just charging you for the compute and memory. So very similar actually to if you were to run a free license of Linux within Azure. So kind of similar cost models there. And the useful thing about this information as well actually is it's all publicly available, and it's on Azure cost calculator as well. So if you kind of want to go and look at the information of what it would be and what information you would be able to get out of it, you can go there and put in the facts and figures and kind of get those elements out. But essentially it's kind of making use, as I said, of those investments, and also the aspect of focusing on SQL, because we understand that not everyone obviously just runs operating systems. There's obviously databases and data to make sure that we kind of keep a good run cost analysis for there as well. So comparing it to an IaaS, so infrastructure as a service, and platforms as a service as well, also available. And really, this is an element of kind of making sure that people make use of those investments, so they're not essentially writing them off when coming into Azure. And also the aspects that are very important to understand is this is comparing it to an on-premise environment and also other cloud providers as well. So here's an example of kind of looking at Azure on the left hand side, and then you've kind of got other hostings, capabilities and other providers as well on the aspects of what you can do with your license. So this is something that we as Microsoft are kind of quite unique in the market of doing and offering. And I think it's very important to kind of look into and kind of really understand when kind of going through obviously that run cost analysis and actually kind of managing your subscription as well within Azure. So super important. And then you see there's rough about 55% saving if we look at the SQL aspects. So really a very kind of good conversation, or an easier conversation to have with your CFO if you can say actually, well, we can save 55% on our run costs within Azure. That's obviously an easier conversation to say it's going to be 55% more expensive. So it actually goes all the way up to about 85%. So really kind of decent figures to be kind of using. And the good thing about this is it's not a really heavy process to go through to activate. It's about engaging with the teams, understanding which license you have available, going to the portal and applying that Azure Hybrid Use Benefit. So you can see here it's an example of me applying it to the portal within my management subscription. Really simple, almost about 6 clicks and you're done. And then essentially that is it activated in your subscription or your enterprise agreement, and essentially saying that you're capable and eligible for these amount of licenses. If you're unaware of how many licenses you have or not particularly sure, this is something that we can help you out with, kind of understand. So this is kind of an overview to say that, kind of looking at a full cost analysis compared to the different models, kind of running it through. And, kind of looking at this is a really good information to kind of look at and kind of break down actually, is it worth kind of running this workload in Azure as is, or do I need to maybe look at rebuilding it as well? So really good comparing to the base rate. And the elements of saying Azure Hybrid Use Benefit, that's great, that's a good tick in the box there. But there's other ways of kind of leveraging Azure as well. So here's an example of kind of, obviously price match commitments is essentially what we're doing, as well as, competing offers as well. So competing offers cover the aspects of if you want to look at running it essentially a little bit cheaper in Azure compared to what else somebody else might be doing in the world. This is where we kind of say reach out, and throughout the workshop we kind of go into this really heavy detail about breaking down actually what versus what would kind of work out the best cost model for each business, because every business is different, every customer is different, and it's key that we as partners and customers and vendors provide that right information. So another element that sits very nicely alongside Azure Hybrid Use Benefit, Azure Hybrid, is reserved instances or reserved VMs, RI. So reserved instances you can essentially apply again via the portal, via subscription. You can apply it for 1 year or 3 years at the moment, and essentially that reduces the run cost of your kind of instances. As you can see there's great advantages there. So there's flexibility. A lot of people get a little bit nervous and they always go, oh, I'm locking into 1 or 3 years with Microsoft. That's not the case. These are flexible contracts. You can negotiate the aspects of kind of if you're unhappy with the class or VM that you've chosen, and we can reapply that contract to a higher instance. So again, it's not something to say that you're locked in with us for 3 years and that's it. There's certainly a lot of flexibility there, as well as kind of giving you a protected budget, which is obviously very key to a lot of people, a lot of businesses. So kind of giving that breakdown and that element of what we can do and what maybe your next 12 months or next kind of 24 months would be for the aspects of a run cost in Azure. So kind of taking all that information and applying it here, we can see the D series, D, E, M, and F. We've kind of got a breakdown of kind of what it would be, what rough savings you would get if you were to apply reserved instances. And again, this is a simple going into the portal, applying it to your instances, and then it's automatically applied. You don't have to do anything. It's all done as a management aspect behind the kind of closed doors within Microsoft, which is really kind of handy, for our customers. So up to, I think it's about 65% saving there with an RI. And then when you actually kind of combine that with hybrid use benefit as well, you're starting to get a really, really good compelling saving there as well. And this is, the kind of an offering across IaaS and PaaS, so the whole total economic impact using these two models really, really drives a good message and really good management of subscriptions as well. So it's something that people need to review maybe every quarter, maybe every 6 months, and we have tools and services that kind of give you that information as well. So something that we kind of cover in more detail. But certainly it's worth time kind of looking and investigating this. And what I've done useful is put some kind of little links up there that kind of cover the high level facts. But what we'll do is during the workshop, when you kind of come and see us, we'll run through this in a lot of detail and obviously have a lot of Q&As. So I want to thank you for listening to this, and look to see you soon. Cheers.